Hey guys, it's episode 5.
5.
This is 5, right?
4? 5.
5. 5.
5.
5.
5.
5.
Yeah, because we're counting me as a bonus episode.
No. We went Awesome B,
Yep.
Ward Anderson, Rodney Ramsey, Josh Williams, and now today, episode 5 is...
Oliver George.
It's Oliver George week. Now, some of you are probably like, who the fuck is Oliver George? And that's a good question. I actually start this interview off by asking him, who are you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's actually had songs picked up on FM radio, and is a talented artist, big gamer.
He's a creative type,
definitely
right?
creative
like
type, yeah.
I know we kept saying Rodney was a content creator, but Oliver George is also a content creator.
Yes.
He's an artist, he's an actor, he's a stand-up comedian, he's a podcaster as well,
and he's a gamer.
A gamer. He's a huge ass nerd.
Huge. And that's what we're talking about this week.
Nerds.
Share your passion with your kids and how early.
Yeah, you know what's funny about this episode is, like, I listened back to it and I was like, this is really just a bunch of grown ass men talking about their own little nerdums, and we didn't really talk that much about parenting.
No.
But that's okay. Like, you know, it's nice to hear about other people's passions and how we sometimes pass them down to our kids.
I don't know. What I took away from it is, like, share your passions with your kids, and you'll know the timing when it's right. I remember Oliver saying, he was like, from birth, you start them off like that. And I'm like, I'd like to be a little bit more organic with what they choose. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to start, and you'll hear what Matthew's proposed.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, now they don't need to listen to the episode. All right, this is the shortest episode ever. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.
Later.
No, we're conceited. We're still releasing everything.
Still listen. Still have a good listen.
Yeah, no, Oliver's fantastic. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yep.
During this episode with Oliver, we were drinking Whippersnapper's Toss the Bouquet.
That's right.
Remember the blue freezy?
Yes,
it tastes like blue raspberry.
Blue freezy. Very interesting.
Rose
hips
and hibiscus.
Yeah, it was super good.
It was delicious. Like, as far as beers go, like, it was definitely fruitier than you would have expected it for what it was.
Yeah, but not like obscenely sugary fruity like Kronenberg's can be or anything.
And I know that, like, Whippersnapper's one of our faves. Kitchissippi's one of our faves. We're drinking Kitchissippi today. Yeah. I'm drinking the Stony Monday, which is a strong 6.4 beer. It's based on Monday, September 17th, 1849. Loyalist and reformist rioted in what's now known as Ottawa's Byward Market. At day's end, 30 people had been wounded and 1 man killed. I think that was, like, someone got, like, pulled into the Laugh, you know, like the Laugh downtown. They kind of set it up as, like, a hostel from that day.
Oh, wow.
And, like, people went there as a safe haven. The Laugh is, like, this old kind of, like...
The Chateau Lafayette.
It's like an old hooker bar.
Yeah, super great.
Old bordello that's now a dive bar.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm drinking Kitchissippi's BC Light.
I think we've had that on air before.
Did we? Yeah,
I think so.
For sure. It's good. I like beer. And of course, as always, just recently, bourbon.
Yeah, you know, being a parent's hard, and sometimes you need to up your ante from beer and move on to bourbon.
Less calories.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us again. It's been fantastic doing this little podcast with Christopher. And we've noticed a lot of things popping up, a lot of, like, little things popping up. You guys are listening in from all over the world, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we had a Denmark listener this week.
We had a couple from Denmark, actually. Yeah.
A bunch from my birth province, British Columbia,
and then Alberta, and I think a lot of that came from us talking about, you know, go back and listen to Crystal Meth, a recovery story. I was gonna try and make a play out for your name, Chris and Crystal, but then if I spelt like Crystal with the K, it would have looked like
it'll look weird.
So
go on back, listen to that episode,
and are we allowed to say, like, that update that who reached out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Shannon reached out to me, my ex, when I was heavily using and working, and
she was kind of the topic for the first half of that conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So it's hard not to, but we reached out, had a conversation, and things are doing good, and
Thank you for listening, Shannon.
Yeah, thank you. It's super cool, and thanks for everybody for tuning into this one for sure.
Yeah, that one was an important one, and in the way that we did a kind of a bonus episode about Chris escaping meth, we're going to do a bonus one in the future about me escaping religion.
That's also an important one.
That's going to be a fucking whammy for sure. We've also got a bunch of cool guests lined up coming in, which we're not going to share.
We're not going to share any of that. Just pay attention to this. We got some.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff down the
coming down the pipe here. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. How have your 2 weeks been, Chris? It's been about a week since we saw each other. About
a week. Pretty good. Hectic, busy work environment. The Dirty Birds Comedy Festival is next week. So
yeah, we were promoting that. It's at Vimy, Overflow, and Stray Dog.
As well as live on Elgin and Algonquin Commons Theatre. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
And neither of us are doing any of those shows, so we're going to stop promoting them.
Yeah. No, I'm actually out on the Burbs show on the Friday night.
Okay.
And, but that's it. Yeah. Burbs is another one of their venues for sure. But, it's Friday, October 18th. Yeah. Anyway, otherwise, just a few shows in and around just a Monday and Wednesday, you know.
You did Yuck Yucks last night.
Yeah.
You did the 2.5 hour Yuck Yucks Wednesday night.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to walk an audience, put on a show that takes more than 90 minutes. You throw 14 comics on there, have it go 2.5 hours, and you'll start with a full room, and you'll end with half an audience that hates comedy.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that were still there were too drunk to care. They were just like, this is super great value. But
I'm drunk on a Wednesday. Yeah. I have a problem.
Or this is my weekend, but usually it's just a problem.
It's mostly a problem.
Yeah, the problem there is like, the
problem there is expensive beers.
Oh, no.
They don't work me. I don't fucking care.
Fair enough. No, I think I don't know. It just turned into a gong show after a while. It was leave them wanting more. I've always thought leave them wanting more is a better adage than make them hate the room.
So when we've been pitching shows to breweries, we're saying 70 minutes. Right?
75 maximum.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the breweries that we deal with don't have liquor licenses and aren't open past 9 o'clock. So 6:30 door, 7 o'clock show, and it's all
half an hour of extra drinking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about. Because when people look at their watch and they're like, "Oh my God, it's 8:40. The show is over. Yeah, we can have another drink." You know what I mean? It's still before 9 o'clock, so people have that adage of like, well, night is still young.
Yeah.
The early shows are the shows that Abs and Yucks are just starting on the weekdays, right? So, yeah.
Well, that's
fair. We got a couple of those coming up now, too. You and me landed our Whippersnapper friend.
Oh, yeah. We are doing a show with Whippersnapper.
We are.
It's
and
awesome.
Another one at Vimy. So the Vimy is the 22nd
of November.
And the 23rd is out here in Pell's Quarters for our inaugural. So
you know what?
That's where you can come see me at Champ.
That's Kate's birthday.
The 23rd?
23rd.
Nice. So you can't do that show now. You can't do the show. Or can you do the show?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
You totally will.
I can't commit to the 23rd show, but we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe if I take care of the baby when I'm not on set and allow her to kind of have a night to...
Maybe we can get Amanda.
It's an early show, too.
It's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 7. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, that's the 21st and the 23rd. And then we also have at the beginning of November, Oliver and 3 other great comics who are musicians. We have a show called Don't Fret happening at Vimy Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a musical comedy show who really got its inspiration from another show in Ottawa, which was called
Eddie's, right?
Yeah, Eddie's Stringing You Along. And then the guys just... I think it's a great show, and I'm helping produce that.
The next time we do the show, can I bring my air melodica and play some air melodica solos?
Totally.
I could, bring people up to play, Smoke on the Water to the air melodica.
That's awesome. We need to actually write songs
that'd be
the air
fun.
Melodica, because it'd be super fun.
It's fun.
Write in and let us know what songs and covers you want us to do, guys. Let us know what covers we should be doing on the air melodica. And
the thong song.
The thong.
Thong that I'm not thong. Oh, fuck.
Scandalous.
It's Thanksgiving weekend.
It is.
In Canada, it's Thanksgiving weekend. We like to do things before the Americans.
Because you guys just like to go Black Friday and then have turkey, then go Black Friday.
We actually like to appreciate our families.
Yeah, and our fall is actually
now. It's
so,
cold as balls.
In November. End of November when we're playing the Grey Cup, which is nonsense. But it's freezing. It's freezing, so you can't really enjoy the splendor that is autumn.
I threw up outside of my backyard the other day because I'm classy like that. And it froze overnight. Like I was sick. Like I legitimately I came home from work a little bit sick, and I canceled my private practice appointments that day because I was sick. And I was just sitting outside trying to calm my stomach down with like a smoke and a joint
and a pancake.
and then the next thing I knew, I just took one hit and I went to stand up because I like to just walk around. I stood up and I just got lightheaded and threw up on the back patio. And then I was like, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Walk in, it's just ice.
Yeah, we did get the first frost this week for sure.
We did a show together in Perth. Renfrew.
Yeah, we did that Renfrew show, which was a great audience, and it was it was for only being plugged for 2 weeks. To have 15 people out there was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it was just me, Chris, and the host.
And it was
we each did close to 30, and she did almost an hour.
Yeah.
If we're talking about shows that shouldn't go longer than 75 minutes, a show with 3 people on it should
not be 2 hours long.
I'm okay saying that because we didn't get paid for it, and we didn't even get gas money for that.
Yeah,
so
it was Trey's,
the next show that they did was a sold out show, and people got money.
Yeah,
so I'm okay. I'm okay being like, you know what? I didn't even get $20 for gas money, so I'm just gonna burn all my bridges today on this podcast.
So just to recap, Matt says fuck Yucks and fuck up north.
No, that's not what I said.
Oh right.
Fuck Yucks. Can we quickly talk about this? Can we talk about the fact that Louis C.K. did Yucks?
Yeah, we totally can.
Are you for or against?
I don't think he served enough time and done enough for really saying it. He's done wrong. I mean, he's got to eat, right? For sure, he's got to. And I get the addiction. And I get the addiction of the stage, right?
And of masturbating in front of people.
I don't get that addiction. No, but
I look at this and go, in my job, if I walked into, and I gave this example at the office because there's someone at my office who's female, defending Louis C.K. says Louis C.K. is one of her favorite comedians, and I really respect this person's opinion. But my counter to this is, in this workplace, I am one of the only men. I'm actually a supervisor in the workplace as well, and there are a number of females that work in my office. And if I closed the door to that office, did what he did to these ladies, and then got fired, there's no way in fuck they're going to hire me back a year later.
No. Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. And not that, I'm not saying that I would ever do this, because I wouldn't, but there's this weird standard when it comes to comedy where we go, they're entertainers, they're torture artists, they got their issues, and yeah, they do, but dude, there are some things that when you fuck up,
you need to fall on that for a bit longer than a year and a half.
And the thing is, you're not even coming out being apologetic about your shit, right?
That's it. There was no recourse. There was
if anything, it's let's lock shit down. I don't want reporters there. I don't want anybody being able to write shit. I don't want and that's fine. I don't want people recording my shit. That's not me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've put yourself in the public scrutiny like this.
Yeah.
You deserve it. And I know that it is sold out. All of his shows sold out very quickly. People are willing to pay money to see fucking Louis C.K. But look at how he's fallen. $30 tickets at Yuck Yucks over a week.
Yeah.
Sure, it sells out, but that's a far cry from when he was doing the ACC.
Yeah, he actually even addressed that off the hop. A bunch of comics who were there on opening night that I've worked with were like, yeah, he was there. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think he was very apologetic about it. And that's the business, though. I guess if you're funny, we're gonna forgive him. But
I never found him to be that funny.
Not overly. He's had some a great storytell and a great I don't know. I appreciated his directorial debut of Pootie Tang. You know, like,
Pootie
Tang. But as opposed
That's right.
to, you know,
That's right. He
like,
did direct Pootie Tang.
He did.
That's how we should have known that he was fucked up, man.
Yeah.
You know, there was a show that he did on HBO before Louis on Showtime, and it was filmed in front of a live studio audience. Him, Pamela Adlon played his wife. Jim Norton was in it, like playing his degenerate best friend, and he would get naked in that show every so often. If you really want to see Louis C.K.'s dick, like, just go back and watch the HBO show. It's small.
It's small. And it's covered in red hair.
It is.
So.
It is, you know, and that's really what you're going to expect. Like, he says what it looks like, and then you see it, and you know he's not lying. But really, we should have no interest in seeing a redhead's dick.
No.
Is that where their soul escapes from when they're born?
Probably. I don't know. I can't even. I'm kind of a daywalker. My beard is all red, but my still stays in because of the curliness of my hair. I don't know. Is that how that works?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
On that note.
Enjoy this episode, guys.
Well, before we jump in, like, form your own conclusion about Louis C.K. and whatnot, but, like, it's shitty to know that...
people are paying for it and he hasn't paid any penance for it.
I was going to say that the clubs are promoting it. Yeah. The clubs are allowing it. Because, you know, like, what type of standard does this set for yucks?
Well, no, that's the standard for yucks.
Is that now the standard for yucks?
They've supported questionable people and their exploits before. So this isn't new.
Well, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Well,
so
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed as well, but I'm not surprised. I'm 100% not surprised.
You know what?
There's a dollar to be made. I get that, and it's just a shame that they were so quick to snap that up. Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
Now, on a less unhappy note, ladies and gentlemen, we present Oliver George. He is not Louis C.K.
Definitely not.
No.
And here we are.
All right. So there's a whole like intro shit before this. So like.
Okay. So
welcome back, listeners.
There we are. Not like here we are. Where's Johnny? Here's Johnny.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe.
Should ask. I can vape in here at some point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're back with Oliver George.
Oliver George. Oliver. Hey. Who are you?
Why are you in the murder room?
I ask myself that question every morning, man.
Like, when you look in the mirror every morning, who is the man that you see?
I'm trying to figure that shit out every day, honestly. I feel like growing is important, and I feel like I don't ever really want to get stuck in one version of myself, so to speak.
You actually answered that seriously.
Yeah, sorry, that was too deep, I guess.
I was like, we're not...
Right. Yeah. We're today's topic of everything, or we're trying to get to know each other, is nerdy and nerdisms.
Well,
and the sci-fi, what we like as adults in our extracurricular activities. I mean, not drugs and alcohol, but I mean comics and sci-fi and different worlds, gaming, even. And
so, like your hobbies, your passions, the things that you like, right?
Yeah, the bide your time shit.
Yeah. Okay. And I think we're going to kind of shape the conversation around, like, the influence that we're having on our kids and, like, how much is too much. And, like, obviously you come into the murder room, and the murder room is kind of it's becoming a geeky sanctuary. I wanted to obviously scream lonely white male.
Yeah, this is my kind of room, to be honest.
and that's the thing, right? Like, there's comic books everywhere. Like, you're into comics.
Oh, yeah.
And you're fucking into Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, yeah. Anything geek culture, pretty much.
Yeah. And we've talked about Star Wars a bunch on this with...
Well, then your place we covered Star Wars a bit as well.
And people have talked about the fact that I've got, like, a giant movie-size fucking Star Trek poster hanging to hide.
Are you like more Trekkie over Star Wars, or?
I'm paid to say Trekkie. I work for a movie studio, right?
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay.
I think I got you tickets to a movie once.
Oh shit, you did that. I totally forgot that, man. Yeah, it was.
I think it was like that.
It was
Richard
Linklater.
Yeah, the Dazed and Confused spiritual follow-up.
Yeah, it was all right. It was
That
all right.
seems fitting for not remembering.
No, but because I work for a movie studio that also happens to do Star Trek movies.
So Warner Brothers, I guess, or do they know Paramount, right?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah.
Oh shit, my bad. Well, you didn't say it. You didn't say it. I did.
It's easy to look it up.
Yeah.
However, like, so whenever we do the movies, we get a bunch of like posters and stuff, and then when we did Into Darkness, we had Ottawa Comic Con, and they sent me like a movie-sized billboard that would drape outside of a movie theater, and I still fucking have it. And so it's
that's pretty massive.
Yeah,
it's not even fully unfurled.
It's not even fully unfurled. It's from the roof down. It's huge.
Wow.
So
you
we
can't say
have,
no though, right? When they hand you something like that.
Exactly, and like I had people offering me money for it, and I was like, "No, I'm good."
You could probably sell it on eBay or something. Yeah.
I had like a lady offer me $180.
That's
You heard it here first, though.
That's something actually
that's
that
a minimum starting bid.
geek wise, that's something that I find I definitely do. Is like I recycle my geek stuff. Like if I'm not using something, like I play a lot of board games specifically. So if we see the one that's not hitting the table enough, I have no problems about like using that to fund my next game, sort of thing. That's
like where you'll sell it off and then
or comics or whatever it is. You
yeah.
know, like once I've had my fun with it, there's always some other geeky thing that I want to get my hands on. And
that's fair. I do that with comics. I actually I've been going through all of my comics. I've got like 22 boxes upstairs in a closet and a weekly sub.
So you're a real collector, yeah.
I've got this is a pile here that's going up, which includes like the first Walking Dead, and the last Walking Dead, some signed shit.
Oh yeah, they ended it. That was
pretty
recent.
So I've got that, but then every time so often I'll go through it and I won't find I'll find a series. I'm like, I'm never gonna read that again, and I put it into like my giveaway or sell pile, and then
or you can just buy it in graphic novel form for like way cheaper if you ever get that urge.
Exactly,
to read again, right?
exactly.
Like,
So and what I end up doing is mostly I just end up giving it away. I'm like, hey, like, do you read comic books? And they're like, no. I'm like, you should read this. I gave Chris a bunch of them. I was like, maybe your kid will like this one. Yeah. Take away this one.
And you guys read a lot of comics growing up, I'm guessing, or?
Yeah, I had a collection. Not like a super. I leaned heavy into trading cards. My granddad.
Same here. That's crazy.
My granddad had one of the largest collections in Canada prior to like major stores coming out, like private collection.
Yeah.
And his special room, the card room, was just floor to ceiling and. Like, oh man, I had a Gretzky rookie set. I had 7980 OP.
Oh, so we're talking mainly sports cards?
Yeah, mainly sports cards. But he also
talking like nerdy?
I'm talking Marvel cards. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, we had Marvel cards too, though, right? That's what me and Carl got.
That was the gateway kind of.
That was like just something that could be our collections, right? We had our collections at that room, but like.
Well, the sets were much smaller, and actually you might actually be able to complete it as opposed to hockey card sets, which have like.
Oh, there were thousands.
Shit tons.
I did a lot of sports card collecting, and actually I have some that are going to be going up in this room because like I have to find it, but I've got a Griffey Jr. rookie. I've got a signed Paul Henderson from when he was like a Leaf. I've also got a signed Felix Potvin.
Okay, I remember. The Toronto goalie.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge sports guy, so
the
second name I was like, just like kind of nodding along.
I've got a bunch of cool ones that are going to go up when I get more tax.
I was a huge card collector until probably about 12 or 13, and that's when I started leaning in towards a lot more anime and film.
Okay.
And that was really my next big collections were runs of films and series of films that I really enjoyed as far as a collective perspective. And bringing this back to like our kids, I wanted to ask you, Oliver, at what age have you exposed your kids to the geeky world? Or do they find their own?
I mean, at what age it would have been like from birth?
Yeah,
like,
fair.
Definitely. Like, I never.
I'm like she's like 6 weeks old and she's wearing Wonder Woman shit already.
Yeah, there's stuff like that, but even just
early,
I'm sure. Just the stuff I would do in front of them, like we always have game nights and stuff, and I'm talking tabletop gaming mainly. So they get exposed to that a lot. But I find my kids, they don't push back hard, but neither one of them have become like a super geek either. I don't know. My kids are like almost 11 and almost 9, the older two. So
yeah, I was about to say we don't really know your credentials yet either.
Yeah,
right?
no, actually,
we jumped right into this. Like
when you guys started talking, I was like, oh shit, that's what they were asking me at the beginning.
no, I was joking at the beginning.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
We're all over the place sometimes. We don't.
Yeah, that's how to do it, man.
It flows. It doesn't. Whatever.
My kid situation, though, I've got my son. My oldest son is going to be 11 at the end of the year. My daughter's turning 9 in like a couple of weeks, beginning of October.
Okay.
And then I have a little guy who's 2.5 in November. The first two I had when I was pretty young. Well, I didn't have them, but I got married at 23, and my ex-wife and I, we had the 2 kids. We were married for like 5 years, and then got divorced. And then I met my now fiance maybe like a year after that, or somewhere in that window. Not too long, actually, but I had to jump on it. We were like just perfect for each other. So, but it's great. I got to say, in my family, compared to probably a lot of others that have gone through divorce, it's like a good modern family dynamic. Like we don't have a lot of. It's not a cesspool of like negativity. My ex and I, like, we're not best friends or by any means, but we have no ill will though, and we've gone to their place for like New Year's and for Halloween and stuff, just to like hang out and show the kids like you don't have to be a dick just because you have a bad breakup or something like that.
Yeah, my mom was very adamant about that. It's like your dad's your dad, and you can be amicable and things like that.
Divorced Dads Club.
Oh yeah.
I was just saying high five.
High five.
Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting, but okay. So cool.
Well, we're pretty. We're both happily like. I mean, I'm not married, but I might as well be, and she is remarried, and we both have kids in our new relationships. I think that's a big part of helping everybody move on. Yeah. It's like if one person moves on, then the other person's like, oh, look at you, so happy. But once you both found happiness again, it's like, what's the fucking point in having beef? Unless you're really fucking petty, but...
Well, it takes a lot of energy to be
and money,
angry.
if you want to go to fucking court over custody and that kind of shit. We're just like
let it go.
50-50, man. We're both good parents. Let's...
That was the big thing with my divorce. I was so happy there were no kids involved at that time.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. The kid you just had, that's your first kid?
Yeah.
So you guys actually came up with this show, like, knowing that your wife was just expecting at the time?
My girlfriend?
Or girlfriend, whatever.
Now fiance, significant other, significant partner, equal.
So, Jesus, man, that could have been dark if she, like, I don't want to say, but if she had a miscarriage or something, that would be, like, really... That'd be the worst reason to ever have to cancel a podcast.
So,
Jesus. I'm just saying, you hedged your bets a little bit by
Well, here's the thing: is like,
almost
what's going to happen? We're gonna disappoint our 10 listeners.
No, it's just what I was thinking about on the way here.
We love you, California and Finland. Don't stop listening.
I know we got like a big following in California.
I got to talk to you because me and my dad are trying to figure this out while we're trying to get our episodes online, and we're just looking into like what's the best person or company distributor.
Yeah, well,
stuff.
we're not going to say that on air because we had
our
last episode. Josh Williams yelled at us for 45 minutes about how we talk about the beer we're drinking.
Oh, because it's free. You're giving free promos.
But we're supporting the people we love.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to go and buy this beer and drink it anyways.
And then a lot of the time, who knows, if your show got enough success or listeners, then this company might have heard that or seen that, and then they'll come to you, maybe offering you
did you hear that, Sweden? Right in.
Right
into Whippersnapper and tell them that you love their Toss the Bouquet, Rose Hips, and Hibiscus Pale Ale. It tastes like a blue freezy.
It's really good. It's really good. Yeah, Whippersnapper's got really good beer, actually.
Yeah. Well, we've already kind of mentioned we're pretty, like, we've been talking to them about starting a show there.
Yeah, I mentioned it to them a couple times too, but I think they were just getting the musical shows up and running and seeing how that goes. And
they have a Drake show coming up.
Yep.
What do you mean?
Like a Drake show. Like Drake.
Oh, Drake. I thought you said a Drake show. I was like, Drake is coming to Bell's Corners to do a fucking craft brewery? Holy shit.
It's like when Snoop Dogg goes to Tweed, it's like Drake.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like. They're not big enough for that.
No, that's not.
Someone must know him.
There's going to be traffic problems.
Yo, I find it still hilarious when I see Drake because he's crushing it, but like I was a legit Degrassi fan, so that's like I knew him as Jimmy Brooks, the guy who got shot in the spine.
Wheels?
Yeah, well, they didn't call him Wheels. There was a character in the first Degrassi, the old school ones, who was Wheels, but he was not in a wheelchair.
No, he's not in a wheelchair.
I can see how that could be confusing. It's easy to mix up.
Yeah, I've only ever seen the episodes of Degrassi that had Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes in them.
Yeah, I watched those as well, and I don't know if I was big into the Next Generation or anything at that point, but I watched those. I did eventually end up watching The Next Generation. I don't know why, man. I'm almost a nerd for Degrassi in that way too.
Well, do you know Michelle Shaughnessy, right?
I've seen and heard of her. I don't know her personally.
So her husband is
great lady.
It's
Snake. Yeah.
Oh shit! Stefan Brogren or something, whatever his name is.
He's cool. He
seems like a cool dude.
He comes out to like all her shows, and so like he sees the comics, and then he'll be like, oh, I remember you changed some shit up. And
Oh, nice.
Like,
He actually gives a shit. Yeah.
Snake remembered my jokes.
Yeah,
Did you watch the old Degrassi or no?
Yeah, I did watch the old Degrassi. The wife has it on DVD at home.
Yeah, I used to have those too.
Yeah, so huge DVD collection. Me and the wife, we kind of got merged together with that one, and it's like we got DVD problems. We're like, remember old movie stores? You're like at maybe corner stores in the country now. And you're like, there's like 3 rows of film, and I laugh at that shit. There's like significant portions of my house that could put old blockbusters to shame.
There is. I was at his place the other day, and it's like they've got shelves that are going to collapse and kill their kids because they have 4 rows up and 3 rows deep of box sets of Frasier.
Okay, so is this like a hoarding thing, or is this just like a collector
just
thing?
Like a collecting thing. It runs the gamut.
You just love watching them depreciate as people give less fucks about DVDs by day.
Yeah, but it's our collection.
It's your collection, but
Chris, nostalgia, yeah.
Chris also doesn't have unlimited internet out in the
country,
yeah,
so it's
fair.
practical to be like, I want to watch a favorite film. I'm not gonna stream it. I'll save the data for that. I will just pick it off the shelf.
I can relate. I did security for 10 years, and I used to keep my DVDs for that reason too. I'd rewatch a bunch of movies and shit just because you didn't have the internet, especially back then.
My favorite movies are on DVD or Blu-ray in a bin somewhere down here because some days I'm in the mood to watch.
And you can't always find it online. Yeah.
Nobody knows The Wrong Guy. Dave Foley, Colin Fiore.
I'm surprised I haven't heard of that. I love Dave Foley though.
That is
hilarious.
It's his funniest movie.
Does it have a bunch of Kids in the Hall cameos and shit or no?
It has a few. But the whole thing is Colin Fiore's a killer and he stabs Dave Foley's boss in the head with a knife. Dave Foley walks into the office and he's the one that pulls out the knife. He's like, ah! And he thinks that the cops are onto and runs off. He's like, I'm going to go to Mexico. But the FBI actually has footage.
Oh, shit.
And so they know that this is Colin Fiore character. So they're chasing him to Mexico. So
it's like a comedy?
It's a comedy. It's not because Dave Foley thinks that Colin Fiore is the cops chasing him. And meanwhile, the cops are. It's like a whole I saw it in grade 12, and I laughed with some drama kids, and I laughed so hard that I stopped breathing.
Was this like a '90s movie?
Late '80s. Well, I was in high school from 2001 to 2004.
Yeah, that's pretty close to me. I was 99 to 2003.
So yeah, it was around 2003. I'll show you the DVD on the way out. You might recognize the cover.
I graduated in
But
98.
that's a movie. That's a movie that I'm keeping, and I'm gonna make my fucking baby watch someday. I'm gonna be like, this is when Matthew figured out he could be funny too.
Okay,
this is an inspiration for me, right?
What are the top 3 watches that you're going to show your kids and what time?
Are we talking for comedy inspiration or for nerd stuff?
Nerd stuff.
Good lord.
I guess we can go because we're all stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
We're all nerds in our own right. So yeah, your top 3 comedy, your top 3 nerd.
Good lord.
Top 3 cult.
That's hard to spring
Top
on.
3 cult too. Yeah.
Jesus, man. I'm just a big fan of a lot of stuff. I find it hard to. Yeah, I might have to stew on that because I find it hard to narrow down because I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the harshest critic, but I just find a way to appreciate a lot of stuff. As long as it makes me giggle, I'm like, all right, it's a pretty good movie,
Yeah.
That's fair.
I used to love Half Baked when I was growing up.
I love Half Baked.
I could quote that back in the day.
I could quote Billy Madison.
Oh,
I still fucking do it.
Oh my God.
Every time
that guy's balls. Yeah, they were weird looking.
I always do the back to school.
We're up. You stay home. You can help me shave my armpits. I always thought that lady was hilarious. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman. Dude, that whole movie's hilarious.
That was such a good movie.
That's one I haven't been able to show my kids yet because I think it's a little bit.
A little bit.
There's a bunch. He goes to get the nudie magazine day. That's how the fucking movie starts. It's like, okay, maybe not quite.
Not yet.
No,
There's certain time limits for sure.
Yeah, my top 3 I wouldn't be able to show her for a long time, and they're also like I don't know if I'd want to because they're all very male centric, right? So like
might not have aged
it'd be
well.
Dirty Works, which is Norm Macdonald and
Works.
Artie
Yeah,
Lang.
that's
So many
fair.
dead hookers in these
So many
trucks.
dead hookers.
Note to self, I don't want to live.
Oh, man. Have you seen Artie Lang recently? With his
I just
fucked up
got
ass?
out.
But he just got out of rehab, man.
He's clean like 8 months or something apparently.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
he always goes and hits the road. I'm like, maybe you should do like 2 years and just like write a funny book or some shit.
Well, he's
like,
doing something like that. He's like doing some writing or some new podcast.
But
or
every
something.
time he's doing shows in Atlantic City, come on, there's someone there with smack or some shit. I don't know. It just seems risky, and it's happened to him before apparently, where he was clean and then he'd go do shows. And
Well, when he
Yeah.
was shooting Crashing, there was a lot of issues in the off season.
yeah.
Because like there was a fear that he was going to go to rehab and he was going to miss out on shooting, and he ended up missing.
Well, and his
like,
nose was constantly changing too, which is continuity errors. Well, do you hear why it's all collapsed? Because he fucking they were breaking up Coke or whatever the fuck it was with like a salt shaker, which they didn't realize broke, and then he snorted a bunch of glass, and his deviated septum was just like, fuck it, giving out.
That's a lot like snorting a hot rail, guys.
Oh, God.
And apparently now he's not fixing his nose because it's like a reminder of like, you know, the wrong decisions he was making. It's either that or he doesn't have the money. I don't know.
Probably the money. Probably the money.
A little bit
You want to
of
fix
column A,
that
a
to
little bit of
perfection
column
to be like remind you that it's not like the old nose. I don't know. That's
I don't
just
know.
me,
It's
whatever.
kind of hard to look at, but hey,
Hope
at
you get
least
better,
he's-
Artie. Hope you stay
Yeah.
true.
He's a funny dude, man. For
Yeah,
sure.
man. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Always
so yeah,
been
Dirty Work would be they're gonna have to wait.
Dirty
to see that.
Work.
He was on Mad TV back in the days.
Yeah,
right?
he was. Yeah.
The Wrong Guy, and
The
then that other
The
one.
Jerk is a funny movie.
Jerk
Oh,
It's
The
fucking
Jerk.
Steve Martin. That's a really good one. My dad showed me when I was a kid. And the Blues Brothers. Fucking love that
Yes,
movie.
the Blues
Blues Brothers is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
What
So
else?
for the next like hour, we're just gonna name movies that we like. That's all we're gonna do.
And we're gonna
right?
show our kids, and we're not sure when we're gonna show it to them, but the kids are gonna watch this. This is required viewing for children.
But like, here's the thing. Like, what is your biggest nerdum?
I mean, it's fucking hard, but I'd probably have to say Marvel in the end. And not, like, I like the MCU, but more like comics.
Comics.
A mixture, I guess. At this point, they're getting pretty good at integrating both into each other's worlds, you know?
Do you stay current with like what's happening in like the
In the
Marvel
books,
comics?
not so much. I mean, I get like all my phone is kind of set up in my news feeds and stuff to give me like articles, but it's not often that I read the real panels with my eyes anymore. You know, what
Like
I
you're
mean?
not sitting down and flipping through a comic book.
No, it's more like you're getting updates on like the people from high school that you haven't seen in a while. Or whatever. You're just like,
Yeah.
did you hear so and so broke up or Cyclops died or whatever? You know.
We always hear
It's like a soap opera that you haven't watched,
That's
you
right.
know.
It's the soap
Watch it
opera.
a
It's
bit,
like
yeah.
Coronation Street.
There was, I think, a point in my early 20s where I finally started reading a lot of comics and I love them, but I started moving towards like graphic novels because the Marvel stuff, I'll always love it, or DC or whatever, but you start to realize after 70 years, like, of course they're going to start making repetitive storylines or just like, how many characters are they going to kill and bring back? Like, what the fuck do you want them to do?
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I got kind of bored with it, and that's not to say there aren't like still great writers doing innovative things with those characters, but reading Preacher was way more eye-opening, or like something like Why the Last Man, or like
Yeah, but like some of those were still released in singles, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. But when I stumbled upon them, they were just like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like reading a novel or.
and that's for me. Like, I love comics. I took about a 5-year break from comics, and only recently started to subscribe again. And the reason I did it is because I was like, this would be a really cool thing. I think it'd be cool is. I buy all these different comics that I really dug in 2019, which is the year that Maddie's born, and buy a bunch of comics that are like very female centric as well that are coming up. So like, there's the Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy limited series. There's Harleen, which is like a 3 limited, like kind of black series DC. Like they're not being given to her, which
I was
is
gonna say I
fine.
don't know. Harley Quinn's the greatest role model for a
And
female, but
I'm just talking
Yeah.
about those two because those two are coming in right now. There's others coming down.
yeah,
the
it's
road,
still
right?
better than just
like,
a totally dude-centric.
these are
comic.
just in the weekly subs. There's some other stuff that is coming up as well. I think there's some new Squirrel Girl coming out again.
Or Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. She's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've actually got a whole bunch of Miss Marvel.
And there's
lying around.
Moon Girl with Devil Dinosaur now, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is, I guess, deep cuts. If
Super
people-
deep cuts for me. I'm on the shelf here.
Oh man, okay. So Devil Dinosaur is a weird ass character from Marvel that when he first came out, I don't even think he was part of like the main universe. I don't think he was in the 616 reality or whatever.
Yeah.
It was an offshoot and it was set back in time. And he had this little fucking monkey dude who was like halfway between monkey and caveman, little Neanderthal motherfucker who rode around on his back named Moon Boy. And yeah. I don't know. That's basically all I can say about those two. But it's a weird ass comic. A giant red dinosaur looks like a don't know.
There are some like really weird ones under like the Marvel and under the DC band too. Like,
Oh yeah.
Secret Six is really weird on the DC side of things.
I don't know DC as well, which is my dad would slap me because my brother and my dad are both DC guys, but I always push for Marvel. And I mean, I know stuff, but Secret Six, I've only ever heard of that. I couldn't name them.
Exactly. Well, that's
Yeah.
where we get some deep cuts with just weird, fucked up characters. That
Oh yeah. What is the
understand.
Secret Six's like deal?
They're just like cheesy fucking dudes. They're like, oh, this is Steve. He's got a fucking magical power from drinking fucking test chemicals.
Well,
like, what the fuck?
It depends on what iteration you're reading. As to
Oh,
what
so they have
can
an
do.
ever-changing roster kind
Exactly.
of thing.
It's like
the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's like a group of people. That-
Suicide Squad. Jesus, the only thing I liked about that was the goddamn soundtrack.
I hated that movie.
Oh, like garbage.
The soundtrack I couldn't even enjoy because of how like blatantly they just plopped them in there as like, you know what I mean? They all felt
Yeah.
forced. It felt like a big ad, the whole goddamn movie.
So how do you think James Gunn is going to handle it?
I mean, he'll definitely do better than the first one. The cast list that he released looks amazing, and we just know him from the Guardians movies as well as just being a solid director.
Yeah.
Did he write those as well, or no? Co-write or something?
I believe he had a hand in it. He's got.
Oh, I'm sure he had,
The way
like,
that I'm not
a say,
100%
but-
sure. I can't confirm or nor deny.
Yeah, that's why I got my dad on my podcast.
Fact check, bitch.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're trying to.
My dad will probably listen
We're
to
trying
this
to
and
be
be
the we're trying to be the opposite of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
No.
We're not fact checking shit.
Yeah. In fact, we need somebody to become our fact checker. Is what my dad is. No.
Yeah, I only honestly asked him maybe one or two things if it's really bugging me. And I obviously don't want to pull out my phone and look it up. But if I think it's pertinent to like the conversation we're having, then maybe I would ask him. But,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, when we're talking nerdy shit, like, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's true.
No, definitely not.
I was gonna say, I think I told him this when he came on my podcast, but you actually, like, I don't really know you at all. I know you kind of Facebook.
No, like, that's
style,
the
but
thing, yeah.
I saw you right before I started doing comedy or dabbling in comedy, like 5 years ago. I thought, okay, I should go to some open mics and kind of like just get a feel for like if I think I could do it or not.
Yeah.
And I had a good history in public speaking in school, like just doing speeches and shit. I went to like the board finals in grade 6 and shit. So I had a knack for that. I wasn't really afraid of being on stage, but I remember seeing one of your sets where you talked about some joke about Beast from the X-Men.
Oh, yeah!
And I remember thinking like, oh shit, I can do jokes about the stuff that I like. And that was kind of like a little moment for me. So I feel like I should tell you that because it's kind of, it was a cool,
Cool moment.
yeah.
No, I appreciate that. You know, it was a joke about me being hairy.
Yeah, okay. I didn't remember the
Hairy.
punchline, but
And the thing is, it was a guy from my church came out and saw my set, and then he tagged. He's like, when you say you're hairy, you should say you're like Beast from the X-Men because you're also a nerd. And I was like, fuck.
I was gonna say you got a Hank McCoy vibe for sure.
And so I tried it out a few times. I didn't really like it. Like I only did it like 3 or 4 times because I think like you told me something, like you referenced a Beast joke to me like 3 years later, and then I was like, it's like, what are you talking about? I don't tell a joke like that. You're like, yeah,
dude.
you did. I saw you once. I was like, oh yeah, like a long time.
I'm really bad for that or good for that, whatever you want to consider it. But I approach fucking everybody, and definitely with comedians, I found a lot of people are not receptive if they don't know you, and then I'll meet them later, and this kind of shit happens, you know.
Well, I remember we met in.
Not that you were a dick or anything.
No,
like,
I try not to be.
No.
But even though Daddy Issues with Champ and Kingsbury is an acrostic poem that spells dick.
Nice that you guys figured that out.
That's how we made it.
Oh, okay, it was intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was maybe just happenstance. Okay.
No, we like that. We like dick.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
You're the dick of the week.
I don't judge.
I know
Yeah,
I know we had met before this, but I remember like the first time I think we ever talked was in line to meet Jason Mewes at Ottawa Comic Con. And you were giving him like a comic book or something like that.
Yeah.
To,
A
like,
guy I used to hang out with, he did the art, and we just wrote like a Jay and Silent Bob kids book. It was meant to be like a fairy tale, whatever, little quick read for the kids. I don't know if it was appropriate or not. I don't really remember, but it was just honestly me. I was so, and I still am. I guess I have like dreams of making something of myself, and certain people inspire me a lot, and Kevin Smith's definitely one of those people.
Oh, yeah.
And he seems like one of those guys who actually like gives a shit and pays attention to his fans and stuff. So I definitely went on a couple quests, and they ended up kind of, I don't know, not really paying out the way I thought they would. I don't know what I fucking expected. Like, you should come live in my house in Hollywood. Like, but you know what I mean? Like,
I've gotten bored of Jason. I need a new pet.
yeah, no,
teaser out. I have a new muse.
Yeah, but to put it in perspective, like I used to play a miniatures game called Hero Clicks, which is like a superhero. It's like a tabletop thing where you fight teams of superheroes against each other, rolling dice and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I used to make a lot of money actually just making custom ones where I would paint them and sculpt shit and whatever. And I made a custom Jay and Silent Bob that had like fully functional game pieces with cards and all that. And then we drove like down to Jersey to go and hand deliver them to his store and all that. And then I met the comic book guys when they came to Cornwall Pop Expo thing, and they were assuring me like, "Oh no, we gave them to Kev." And then it was only like 3 fucking years later where somebody reposted the photos being like, "These are really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I never fucking heard a thing." And then he actually did retweet it at that time, and that was like a big win for me because I was like, "All right."
The wheels turn slow sometimes.
But it doesn't sound like he got them, so
he answered me on Reddit once. And I don't really ever go to Reddit. I went to Reddit because he was doing an Ask Me Anything. And I asked him when he was going to finish The Widening Gyre.
Oh, yeah, the Batman book there.
Yeah,
with,
and then
Walt Flanagan.
And then he's like, DC won't let me. So we will never see the end.
He never finished his Daredevil run, or maybe it wasn't Daredevil. He did.
No, he did Green Hornet, and that was.
Wait, was it the Widening Guy, or was it
he did Green Hornet.
Cacophony?
That's another Batman one he did.
Well, he did because he did the two ones. He did Cacophony. And he did the Widening Gyre, and one of them cut off.
Yeah, and he never got to.
And he never got to do the last half of it.
But I think there was a Daredevil run or some Marvel run that he did. I want to say Daredevil with the Black Cat featuring or something.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't finish that either. Apparently, it was the same sort of thing where I think he's like me, where he's just a guy who like. You're like, I want to do this project. I want to do this project.
He goes on and on.
And that's kind of...
And he's been signed up to so many things. Like, he was going to reboot Bonsai Buckaroo.
Well, he was going to do some shit is business related. Of like Mallrats was going to be a TV show. Mallrats or something.
You ever see his cartoon of like
Die Hard in a Mall?
Or the Clark's cartoon?
The Clark's cartoon,
yeah. Yeah, it only had like 6 episodes, I think.
6 or 7 or something like that.
And then they did the Jay and Silent Bob Groovy movie.
That one was interesting. It was it was based off of like a comic book I used to have of theirs where they win the lottery and that's why they become Bluntman and Chronic. I think I still have that.
Are you excited about Reboot?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little confused because it seemed like the only way to see it was on the tour, but now I'm reading that you could see it anywhere. I think in October. So.
Well, they're getting more show. Like it'll show in probably like Silver City or Landmark Canada. It won't do all of the big theaters.
Well, it'll obviously be cooler to see them like presenting it.
Yeah, the closest they're coming to Ottawa is Montreal
and Toronto.
They're doing.
I tweeted to them about the shit too because they're doing Toronto and then there's like a 4-day gap between Montreal. I'm like, come to Ottawa. There's people here. Like, we will fucking... He was here at Centerpoint Theater in like 2010.
Yeah.
And I wasn't as big of a fan. I mean, I was...
He did his Hollywood Babylon podcast.
I saw the 200th episode live in Toronto, actually.
Oh, nice.
And that's when I threw that fucking book at him on stage at the end. And he did like a Silent Bob, like, is this for me, you know? But again, I didn't really hear shit. And then when we went to the Ottawa Comic Con where you saw me, we were giving it to Jason Mewes, and I was kind of asking him, like... Hey, like, did you... And he told me apparently that Kevin Smith was having it shipped to his office or something. So, like, that's cool. I just wanted him to have them, I guess. I don't know. I'm a nerd. I fanboy for shit. Definitely.
I have a commission that's on its way by Rob Thibodeau. Rob Thibodeau did that one up there of Freddy versus Jason.
Yo, that's actually really killer art.
And the Captain Canuck beside it. He did another Trek one right here.
You know who that reminds me of is one of my favorite artists, Michael Allred. I don't know if you know his work.
Yeah,
it's got the same bold lining and bright colors, but not overly detailed.
He also did the Spock. That's going to
really
go up.
Fucking nice.
So I commissioned a Jay and Silent Bob of like $15. Little man put the shred in my hand, and I'm like, I commissioned it fucking 2 Christmases ago. It's done. I've seen it. I'm just like, fucking mail it to me. He's in Hamilton. Rob, if you're listening to
this. That's not that far, yeah.
Mail it to me. Because I want to bring it to the road show and try and get them to sign it.
Oh, nice.
That would be really cool. Nice. That's a fandom for me that I'm like. We were actually joking upstairs before you came. It's like, when do we introduce our daughters to Chasing Amy?
Yeah, because it has kind of a strong message for women in a way of just like owning your shit and like don't let a guy make you feel like shit because you have a sexual history or whatever. As long as you're, you know,
there's not a lot I can tell, but also
there's a lot. It's definitely vulgar as fuck. Yeah.
Well, and it's like, and also like you can be a lesbian. That's great. We want you to be a lesbian. But only Ben Affleck can turn you straight.
Yeah, like...
Yeah. Yo, there's a shot in that movie, too, where they're... walking in the rain and you see the camera crew off the window.
Yeah, he's had some bloopers like that.
Yeah, it's a little weird they left that in, but I guess, sometimes it's hard to get the shot and you're on a budget or whatever.
What types of like nerdy shit have your kids gotten into?
My son is Fortnite, like, to the fucking max. That's why I try to get him into tabletop games and stuff, which he's willing to play, but he's not into it like I am. Just because I like that it's one less screen, but you still get to have a game,
Yeah.
Because kids, I mean, it's weird to compare this, having children now with, they clearly have more screen interaction.
Yeah.
But if I find myself harping on my kid for playing video games too much, I think like, well, we probably played Super Nintendo for fucking 12 hours or whatever.
100%.
Like, so,
and we were closer because the definition sucked more, right?
Yeah. Gotta get all that fucking 16-bit up in my eyes.
Exactly.
How much is that dog from Duck Hunt gonna pay?
He was huge. My son, I was just thinking he was huge into fucking, this is a couple years ago, but Five Nights at Freddy's, which was like this weird... It's like sort of Saw-esque
game.
Yeah,
like
it's about like basically a fucking Chuck E. Cheese where the animatronics come to life at night and you're the security guard trying not to get killed by them, I guess. It's pretty dark, but a lot of kids were into it.
Okay, that's
interesting.
It was fun. I guess the suspense is the fun part. It's exciting. It's like us playing Doom or something like that.
Okay, that's fair. We grew up playing Wolfenstein and Doom.
Yeah, that shit would get your heart pumping. Or even GoldenEye. I used to get high as fucking grade 9 when like I didn't have shit to do or on a Friday night, like everyone else was maybe doing something else.
GoldenEye parties was the shit.
Shut off all the lights.
18, 19, sitting up in our freaking apartments and just having a GoldenEye shut-in party. It was great.
See, that's interesting that you were 18, 19 when that was going on because we had like sleepovers.
Yeah.
And you were like drinking beers. Fuck, that would have been so much better.
I was like grade 5, 6, 7, 8.
What year are you born?
87.
Oh shit! So I'm a little older. I'm 85. I'm December 85 though. So
okay.
What are you?
August.
So you're halfway through the year.
We chatted about this with Josh as well.
Oh yeah.
He decided I'm no longer a Leo because of that new horoscope bitch.
Oh, that's me apparently. The new one.
Don't accept it, man. Don't buy it.
Well, to be honest, it made me feel cool. I was like, such a small window, and that's what I'm so special. No, yeah. What the fuck was that? Honestly, is that even like a thing anymore?
I don't know. Who cares?
It just seems like such a weird thing to be like all these people basing shit around astrology for years, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, it turns out Kyle didn't put in his papers that day or whatever."
Yeah. And by the way,
Kyle is a very progressive name for the time.
Oh yeah. That's how it's just as I said it. I was like, "He was probably a rad dude."
He's got a vape, he skateboards.
Yeah.
He has had a mohawk in his past.
Yeah.
You know what's cool? Yeah, because if you went back in time with a vape, it would blow people's minds. But if you went back in time with a skateboard, they would just make skateboards. They'd be like, "Oh shit, why the fuck didn't we think of this?"
Exactly.
But it's weird how there's certain things that didn't come till way longer or way further in the future that would have totally different,
Pretty much electricity, right?
Yeah, I suppose. If you're using kinetic energy.
Let's draw the line there. Yeah. It's like, if you took back a scooter, they're fucking losing their mind.
You could do shit without electricity. If you had certain chemical reactions, you could blow people's minds. You could do a lot of magic tricks with chemicals that would make smoke and shit like that.
Yeah, there's people at the time that did that shit.
Yeah, probably. Well, I guess. I don't know.
How else did we learn?
We can't really prove any of that shit conclusively, but yeah, I'm sure some alchemists.
The Neanderthals were great. They're great showmen.
Oh, man.
Fuck. So your son's into Fortnite. Do you play Fortnite with him?
I've tried it a couple of times, but every time it kind of drives me nuts because you do this like parachute. I don't know if you guys played it.
I just downloaded it for my phone.
You jump out of this giant bus thing. Yeah. No, it's like a flying bus, which is kind of rad. That part I liked. I was like, all right, it's kind of like Woodstock or something. You jump out and then you have like a little hang glider thing and you try to sort of target where you're going to land on the island, and I guess that can benefit you depending on
what's there.
Yeah, so you get the high ground or you get a place with lots of weapon boxes or whatever. But I find when you die, then it's just a long reload time. That's what I was, maybe because I suck, but I found I would play for like 2 minutes, then I'd get killed, and then I'd have to wait for 4 minutes for the fucking new round or whatever.
Yeah, because you just started, there's some fucking little 10-year-olds around the world who's like, I'm gonna frag this new.
Oh, exactly. And even saying what I just said makes me feel insanely old. And it's like, I don't got time to wait around.
Covering fire. You're just done. You're just done.
I used to have a joke about that, how weird it is, like that. We can actually say when we look at someone playing even just a phone game or any sort of handheld mobile device game that back in my day, handheld games were black and white. Like, it's kind of weird. I guess it's not a great joke, but it's more of just like a...
It's an observation.
Yeah.
Facts aren't jokes.
No.
Yeah, no, they're not.
Paulash.
Yes, exactly.
Battlecom.
Yeah. That was fun. I'm not invited back to Battlecom.
Well, so do you know what Battlecom is?
It's like comedians arguing at Comic-Con?
Yeah, well...
Or something like that.
It's like the debaters. The debaters for nerdy shit.
Do you like debate? Yeah, like, oh my god, this sounds actually like I could be good at this.
And you write jokes. So like you write like a joke that's for you, and then you write a joke that's counter the person you're going against.
But when you're going against someone, you're roasting like the character they're defending or something.
So yeah, like it would be like
you say, why does, like, for instance, the top villain.
What? So an example of a round was what is the scariest Scooby-Doo villain? Like who's the scariest Scooby-Doo villain?
Wow, this is actually super reminiscent. I don't know if you ever watched Movie Fights. It was on. It's made by Screen Junkies, the guys that do honest trailers. If you've ever. So I used to be addicted to Movie Fights, and it's a show where literally it was just like that.
Oh, nice.
Except it was movie, but they were still huge nerds.
So these are all over the place because like it's also like what's the shittiest superpower or something like that. And so you make and there's like 6 comedians. Everybody's gotten a choice that they've written jokes about. So like for my example, who would be the worst Scooby-Doo villain? I chose climate change, and about how Scooby-Doo fought climate change, and I went up against Brendan McKeegan, who chose the vet. Right. Oh, nice. So like, and then you argue back and forth, and it's fun, and
you get like 2 minutes to prepare or something.
And then you get for their answer, you get on the spot.
No, for sure, and that's fine. But you like get a little opening statement or whatever. Like
everybody gets a pro joke first, and then the audience will vote, and then the person that wins stays on and will fight the next person.
Nice.
With their answer, and then if you win like 2 battles.
See, this sounds up my alley because real roasting, I feel like I'm just too sensitive, and I would just take everything really personally.
You should send Paul your shit.
Yeah,
but Battlecom's fun. But at Ottawa Comic Con, at the Comic Cons, they have to be kept PG-13, right? Because these.
That's not too hard with the subject matter. I don't think.
So
I would
Christopher.
So
it's hard not to swear, man.
Yeah, it sure is. So
it's not that hard if you write your jokes.
Write your jokes to it.
Yeah, I guess.
If you're aware of the rules and onset of them. I was not aware of the PG-13, and the only time I had seen Battlecom before was actually in a bar setting.
So in the bars,
I was field judge. I was field counting, right? So like, there's always a field judge to like count the numbers up quickly who wins the round.
Yeah.
So my best horror film, what was it? And I was like, mine is Aliens. I was so scored and scarred by when they pulled that girl's head up and she's like, kill me, and that absolute look of terror in her face.
I remember that shit.
A lot like you kids here are going to jerk off in front of your girl for the first time and have cum all over their face. It's just going to bust everywhere.
Oh, Jesus.
It was a very, very...
It was a twist of vulgar.
It was vulgar.
I was going up against Tim Riel at the time. Tim laughed and laughed and laughed. He laughed so hard at me. And then Paul Ash was like, Jesus, it's a PG-13 room.
Oh, man.
All right.
That's brutal.
Good. Oh, gosh.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't help but think of that show again, Movie Fights, because they would have shut you down for claiming that Aliens is a horror movie because it's an action more than it's a horror. And I've heard that argument before.
Fair enough.
You gotta check out that show. It's a weird, I just find this show very interesting because I used to watch it for a while, was a huge fan, and then it all fell apart because right after Harvey Weinstein, one of the dudes, whose name was Andy Signor, he got like all these people from his work, or some chick specifically was saying that he had, sexually harassed her and he was her boss, so he got like blasted. And the show pretty much shut down. They tried to do a new version. Everyone hated it. He was a linchpin. He was his own opinion sometime, but he was still, part of the show. And now the guy's doing this whole fighting back campaign I was seeing because he proves all the shit. He proves like all the text that he had with this chick, and he basically broke it down that he just got like lampooned because of the movement that was just starting. And it was weird. Not to say I'm sure that most people are guilty in those accusations, but this guy's video was pretty fucking convincing, man. He had all the like documents that proved that he was getting fucked over. I don't know.
This is where we need like your dad, fact checker, bring it in.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
no
one would know the truth unless you're those people involved, I suppose. But like having a lot of hard evidence is kind of still something that I guess is important to society. Like, if you have evidence that proves you're not guilty, there is a due process that we shouldn't completely abandon.
Yeah,
of course.
And that's, I guess, the double-edged sword of the Me Too movement is there's always going to be people that are going to take advantage of any situation that could be,
Yeah. No, there's
manipulatable.
Bad eggs and every rotten bit, but that doesn't mean don't believe women. Cause...
No, God, no. And that's not what I'm saying by any means.
No.
If anything.
Let's just like, yeah.
No, it's just a weird tangent because I used to watch that show and it's exactly the argument you guys were talking about, these comic book sort of pop culture fights. And I really think you guys would enjoy if you go back and watch the old episodes.
I know that Paul's actually trying to pitch Battlecom as a TV show. He's been filming some pilots and he's been getting some audience testimonials. So.
Yeah. So
it's fun. I always love it. Whenever it comes to Ottawa, I always hop on the shows. And
I really hope that doesn't sound like I'm like anti-women.
No.
If anything, I would say, look the dude up and watch the video for yourself and just see. It was very convincing is all I was saying.
No, that's fair.
And it seemed like he wasn't able to talk about it for a couple of years because of the legalities that were going on. And as soon as he had the okay from his lawyer that you can say your piece now, he dropped this bomb and I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
So check that out if you get angry at that, and come back and we'll have a conversation.
People get angry at everything, though.
I know. Yeah, that happens too.
That's what I've learned too. I try to catch myself when I'm doing that, like seeing somebody and making assumptions, and especially with online, it's so fucking easy to just judge people on how they're interacting on Facebook or whatever the fuck, and then you meet them in person, you're like, oh, this person's great, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then you start to realize that technology is, I think, at some level supposed to divide us and alienate people.
You think?
Yeah, I guess
Facebook is legitimately trolling me right this week. Like, I'm seeing stuff from people that I know from growing up in Alberta who are pro-conservative, and I posted like a meme, and all of a sudden it's just they're commenting and tagging immediately.
They're just trying to like stuff.
And I'm seeing more of these people show up in my newsfeed. I'm like, yeah, you hear me, Google. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you and Facebook. Sorry.
It's weird. Yeah, you talk about something and then you see an ad for it every time now, and I just assume that.
Have you thought about something and the ad show up yet?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm alone? Cool. All right, talk to you later.
I'm going to hope that's a coincidence.
No, I've had that happen legitimately twice.
No, I believe it's happening. I'm just going to hope that it's a coincidence that it happened.
You're in the process of creating what you are, like, feeling and thinking.
And here's the thing, is, like, we are nerds, so maybe telekinesis is a real thing.
Oh, I've dreamed about all of this being real since I was a child. I've always
stuck here instead of a cool matrix.
We know we're not mutants because we passed puberty and that bonus sailed.
Yeah.
I know, it's kind of sad.
We're hoping on, I guess, like freak accident at this point.
Yeah.
Radioactive mishap.
Just to end the Battlecon conversation, that's where you get to write your best jokes about nerdy shit, and then that's where you find that audience that you can bridge. But then you find the audience that allows you to bridge some of that into the mainstream.
Yeah, I want to roast MODOK and then have people actually get.
I did a whole thing about how at Ottawa Comic Con this year, who is the sexiest supervillain? I chose MODOK. And
this was satire, I suppose?
Ben Hagel chose Bernie Sanders. And so, to the audience, for my negative against him, it was like, I was like, who here thinks that Bernie Sanders is sexually attractive? And like maybe 3 hands go up, kind of like joking.
Wait, it didn't have to be a comic book character?
No, it could just be anything, right? And then I was like, now who here knows who here does not know who MODOK is? And 90% of the hands went up. I was like, so hypothetically, MODOK is more attractive than Bernie Sanders because none of y'all bitches know what he looks like. And then I won like on a landslide.
MODOK's got a big mouth, big head. He could suck like 16 dicks at the same time, this guy.
It's not down here now. I have a MODOK by Mike Ruth that is Rob Ford like floating by the CN Tower as MODOK smoking a crack pipe.
I can see him as MODOK. He could have played him in the MCU. I actually can't believe I didn't open my jacket earlier because I was going to do.
Hey, X-Men 94.
Yeah, this is a good lineup. I never understood why Psylocke wasn't in the show, in the cartoon show.
So here's the thing: is I actually was gonna say you got a 2.5-year-old, and you gotta be tired of watching shit like Peppa Pig and like Maximum.
We moved on from that. He's on Paw Patrol right now.
But like the thing is, like, when I bought and I own the box set of X-Men 94. And
Nice.
I
had
bought
one
it.
or two of the DVDs.
I
Yeah.
bought it because I was like, I don't want to watch the shitty kid shows. I want her to be like, watch this. So like, how can you get them off of Paw Patrol and onto the good shit that you're gonna enjoy watching with them?
I remember trying to show my older two the X-Men cartoon, maybe even the younger guy, and they just, I don't know if it's like the animation style is too old for them now or something, but they just didn't really get into it. But as for your sort of question, larger here is we did Adventure Time, which is an amazing show that is just as great for adults, but it's not really like egregious to show it to your child.
It's nice if you like get to vape in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Or Ninja Turtles, another good choice. Yeah. But my lady there was not too happy when our son, we showed him both those shows kind of back to back, and he was getting into both. And then we started having a lot of hi-yas and a lot of kind of, he got very physical, like he wanted to fight the bad guys, and we're like, all right, we can't have him like smacking his brother and sister and hitting us with sticks and stuff. Like, so we curbed it and we went to Paw Patrol, which I gotta say, at least Paw Patrol, they're trying to rescue people every episode. They're doing good.
How fucked up is that town? You listen to this? You hear? At least it's good. No, RoboCop Police was okay and good. Okay? Yeah, at least they were like, call the police and fire department, not call a fucking 10-year-old kid with a goddamn iPad. Well, where's he getting all this fucking money from?
Not only that, but if you're a talking dog that can drive a vehicle, why are you taking your orders from a 12-year-old bitch?
Here's my theory. That guy has got them all hooked on drugs.
Ryder? Yeah, Ryder's a fucking...
Is Ryder...
Ryder's the boy,
Ryder's the boy.
Oh, well, there's more than one boy. There's only like one girl.
Yeah, Ryder's the main guy though, who has all the dogs kind of at his behest.
So my niece
gets a button
went through a huge Paw Patrol phase back around 2.5. And for the first Christmas that I was dating Kate, to try and win her over, because she was kind of wary of me at first, this new guy that had walked in. I bought her this giant rider from like Walmart. She has like a whole bunch of things, but we have her over here for like sleepovers and stuff. Yeah. So we keep it here, and she'll like snuggle with it when she's here. And then also what happens is we've talked about Simon Slane on this podcast before. You know Simon, right?
Yes, I know the name and I've seen him.
Absolute comedy, like kind of door
guy. The door guy. Yeah.
So
I'm sure he loves being called the door guy.
He does. He's now the door guy at the Chateau Laurier.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's a step up, I guess.
Almost causing international incidents on the day.
Oh yes. He got into a fight with Saudi diplomats, but we're not going to go into that. And,
I don't know him well, but he was always a nice guy. Yeah.
He's great. The greatest guy. That's why we talk about him. But I get. Every so often we go out drinking. Okay. And when Simon and I go out drinking, Simon has to stay here because Simon doesn't know how to control himself when we go out drinking. Zero control. And so that...
Oh, you guys, he like blacked out or something at a concert. Didn't you post that on Facebook?
That was different. We've talked about that.
Oh, okay.
He had seizures. He actually wasn't intoxicated.
That
he was multiple seizures. But
very different.
I brought him back from a beer fest, right? Like a beer fest, and I was like, I'm gonna go make myself a Jack and Coke because I was still good. He's lying on the floor of my living room vomiting, and then I'm like, what? And then I'm like, he's like, gets up, he starts to walk around it, and then he throws up into it again. I was like, dude, there are washrooms right there. Like,
okay, wait, so throws up on your floor?
Yeah. Twice. So
carpet?
No.
Okay.
No. And I make him clean it up too. I'm like, here it is, and I'm getting the mop, and I was like, do it. And he's like, oh, it's still like.
Sorry, whenever my dogs puke, I'm always instantly like, I don't mind cleaning it up, but when I hear that noise, I'm just like, you're not on the fucking carpet.
We don't do carpet.
My cats have a unique way of puking on like a clean laundry pile sometimes.
Oh,
like those fuckers.
So this has happened multiple times. Not necessarily throwing up, but him coming and passing out on my floor. So he now has actually slept with Ryder the dog, and he'll actually like fucking spoon it all night long. More than my niece has, and I don't think that I would like ever trust giving it back to my niece.
As long as Ryder doesn't have a sticky back.
Well, I was gonna say, the nerd in me has to say Ryder is not a dog, he's the boy. So
yeah.
Couldn't have been Ryder.
Chase.
Yeah, Chase is a wiener.
Chase
is the cop. He's always like, Chase is on the case.
Yeah.
So how do you handle this? Because like when we have the niece over, like she loves fucking Max and Ruby, and I can't stand.
Oh shit! I forgot about that one.
Oh, she's such an awful human being.
Yeah,
honestly, she's not even a human being. What is she? A rabbit?
It also sucks because when you get
little rabbit.
When you get those shows that your kids are really into, like they just want to watch that one. It's like 6 months of just addict for that show, and then
I think I did that.
And they throw it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's something that I'm thinking about is like, and I'm not saying this as a plug. Fuck these people, even though they're gonna make billions and billions of dollars. Disney Plus, when they're coming out, like they unveiled their lineup and they have all the cartoons from when we were kids, like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers,
Everything.
Bonkers,
Oh,
Gargoyles.
Animaniac. Oh no, that's Warner.
No, that's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But they're also gonna have like the Amazing Spider-Man from when we were like in the '90s and stuff.
Oh shit, yeah, that's really good.
That's
I
what
love
I'm
that shit.
hoping that like if I can get that and that's the only shit we're playing around the house,
Yeah.
I've got
Good trade.
it's like maybe
trade.
she'll never.
And it's like
ever,
$8 a month or something, right?
Yes, it's
super
cheaper
cheap.
than a lot of the other things.
And then the
yeah.
live action Marvel and Star Wars shows
Yeah.
are going to be
It's
up
all
there.
The
I'm
Mandalorian.
excited for the Mandalorian. I'm excited.
Well, yeah, kind of going back to geek stuff. Like Disney Plus is kind of like going to be the center for a lot of geek
The
shit.
Haven, yeah.
Because you got DCU, like the DC Universe, so it's like their online streaming shit. But
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
well, yeah, because they had like that's where Titans comes from. That's where Swamp.
I thought it was
Thing-
just on Netflix.
Well, that's
It's
in
licensed.
Canada.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
okay.
Canada, it's
I didn't know they had
Netflix.
their own channel.
But like Swamp Things, Doom Patrol.
I haven't seen that yet.
Doom Patrol is great. It's on Crave right now.
I watched maybe a clip from the Titans episode where they were meeting them or something like that. It
they
looked super cool.
They had a turnover.
Titans was a little bit fucking ridiculous.
I didn't like Titans. I didn't.
Robin
like
was
it.
just like, okay, we get it. You're trying to be
Full
violent,
Batman.
Robin. Well, no, the killing. I was like, the first time he smashed some guy's head into a fucking wall or whatever, I was like, oh, that was pretty rad. And then like 5 seconds later, he's doing it again. I'm like, all right, Robin.
Well, that's the thing is
Calm
like
down with your
that's,
bloodlust.
that's also not the type of like
Dude, it was
nerdum
Jason
that
Todd.
I'd want to introduce to my kid.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, of
like,
course.
I don't want that to be their first interaction with the Teen Titans.
No. Teen Titans Go is pretty awesome.
Teen Titans. That's the thing. Is like
Eddie's
Teen
into
Titans
that right
Go
now, actually.
is
It's awesome.
and it's funny for the adults
Or Lego
too.
Batman or something.
Yeah,
Well, he
the
did
Lego
Batman.
movies.
The
yeah.
movie, I mean, not the like straight to DVD garbage ones, but
Yeah, he's into them too. Whatever content, right? He's
Yeah.
churning through it, so he doesn't have to go to it. But the Lego DC comics.
I guess though that there's so much new content being created that if you can kind of just find like a mainstay of like not necessarily the same show but like same universe or some connection that is like adored by like
he does like the Lego stuff.
and like and here's the thing is like for us we didn't grow up binging, right? We didn't grow up where we could sit down and watch 7 episodes of
wait,
Peppa
yeah.
Pig, right? We had to watch an episode of Gargoyles and then we had to watch an episode of Goof Troop and then we had to watch an
Oh,
episode
Gargoyles,
of
that's
Darkwing
deep cuts.
Duck and then we had to watch an episode of DuckTales.
Yeah.
Like that's what we had to watch because that's what was offered. So with Disney, like no. With this stuff, maybe that's the way it's introduced is rather than doing binging, it's like you get one episode of something at a time and you can't watch the same. I don't know. Is that,
No,
is that
it's,
too strict? Is like the like.
there are a few shows that they'll do on the newer networks, like Netflix or whatever, where they'll still only feed you one new episode a week,
Yeah.
like old
Well,
school
that's
style.
control. Yeah,
But I remember that's not that
spread.
recent of a change, right? Like I remember when Lost was coming out, and I was
Yeah,
a big fan of
Lost
that
was great.
until the fucking ending. But during the rest of the show, I remember every week being like, Wednesday night, motherfucker, let's do it, you know?
Yeah.
And
Lost
then
was
now
great.
you're like, you'd never waste, or I mean, unless you have to, but everybody wants to binge.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's honestly, it's more conducive for like remembering fucking details. I gotta say, if it's like a story that has a lot of shit going on, it's way better to watch it all back to back.
Yeah, but I guess like TV that's on cable, a lot of it's procedural, right? So like you get to know the characters, and each story kind of wraps up.
It's more like a sitcom,
It's,
yeah.
or not necessarily a sitcom, but I think
Well,
of
a
like,
sitcom without a laugh track.
I think of like the shows like Law and Order, where you've got the same like
Formula, right?
You got a
Yeah.
formula that goes through it. Each episode is like when Kevin Smith talks about directing The Flash.
Yeah.
Right, he's like they've got the script. You literally walk on set and they're like, we do this all the time. It's boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
shot. We're in, we're out, we're done. It's everything is done so quickly, and I totally forgot where we were.
But
going.
they do still have overarching narratives over like a full season, you know. They'll
Yeah,
still
but
have,
they don't necessarily play out like like the monster of the week. Like when I think of that, like Smallville, the Flash can
Yeah.
work with that. It's like you've got that overarching main.
you could probably
enemy,
miss an episode or two and still.
but you can still miss a few
kinda-
episodes
yeah,
because
yeah.
they're just enemy of the week episodes.
Smallville, good lord! I watched the first 4 seasons of that because somebody had them on DVD, and again, I was doing security at the time overnight, and I had to tap out. It got so CW, like fucking.
I own all 10 seasons.
I know towards the last couple seasons interested me more because they started doing like Hawkman and all this other like deep cuts.
What about Stargate? You guys ever watch?
I remember the movie was
I
really
remember the
good,
movie.
and I never went beyond that.
Ra the Sun God.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say the first 8 seasons of that, incredible. The ones with freaking MacGyver, you know what I mean?
And they did Atlantis or something after that.
Yeah, they did. There was an Atlantis spinoff for 5 years, but like the 10 years it ran, it was still great, and it's produced in Vancouver.
Yeah,
and it's freaking. It was a good run. I can't wait to show them that because that was TV ready, and that was like enough science fiction and enough like you can just basically dial up the adventure on the fucking phone, right?
Yeah,
bang,
exactly.
Bang, bang, go through. So. That's something I definitely can't wait to show Eddie. Aside, we're getting back to that, like essential shows. What would one thing currently you would say your kid is 10 years old? What do you, Dad? I want to watch something. What is it off the shelf?
We actually have, because I share custody, like I said, for my older two, the ones that we're really trying to expose to films and stuff. And so every second Friday, when we get them back for our week, then we have a pizza night and we take turns who gets to pick the movie. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I try to like do classic films like Groundhog Day or something like that. You know, like just stuff where they can see strong performances and good writing and original ideas that have probably been redone now 5,000 times. But and some are hit and some are missed. Some of them they just can't land. So like Jaws.
I was going to say, like, what's one of the ones that you've introduced to them that they've like just really been like, fuck yeah, that was awesome.
They definitely, Jaws was one of them, and they're starting to get into the MCU now. I noticed like Guardians 2, I think it was. I don't think she had seen the first one, but my daughter, that one really got to her because she was like basically crying and she was like, Yondu. So that was kind of, and now she, the whole Thanos thing, she hasn't seen Endgame yet, but they saw Infinity War and they're definitely like, you know, they're paying attention to like the larger story a bit more and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was going to say, when you're talking about shows, you just made me think of a show that I have to look up. We used to watch, me and my brothers. It was the TV show adaptation of the movie Weird Science. It used to come on the Space Channel, and it was fucking amazing. It wasn't the same actors. No. Even the chick was different. The hot babe they make with their computer or whatever. She's basically like a genie. And obviously that concept is like ridiculous now to print a woman out of your computer or whatever they did. I don't remember. It's like lightning struck their house or something.
They fucking did that movie Her, where he just like fucking falls in love with the phone.
Yeah, but she couldn't grant wishes, and she wasn't like a fucking.
Fair enough.
I mean, I guess they could do like an android fully functional body. That wouldn't be that futuristic now. We have like androids now, kind of in the world that are getting out there. That's fucked, man. That shit weirds me out. And like that, I think was it you I talked to you about with this, but that deep faking shit is weird too. Where they can like put someone's face on someone else and it looks like legit.
Yeah. Like legit graphic pointing where you're just like.
It's weird. Yeah, like they did with Joe Rogan where they made him look like, because he was talking about Bill Clinton and doing an impersonation of Bill Clinton. So they put Bill Clinton's face rather on there, and it was pretty seamless. All they need is 1 or 2 photos, and then it just follows the natural movements of, I guess, the host's face. And just like, isn't that fucked up?
That's fucked up.
Apparently it was a Chinese app that came out like 6 months ago that got recalled or they backpedaled way because, you know, people were freaking out like, whoa, privacy issues. Everyone's second guessing all the pictures they put on social media and whatever.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the aging photos. Go right to town on that.
Yeah, send your shit to Russia. Yeah, that was the rumor, right? No. I never did it.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't. I didn't do it on my phone.
I didn't want to see it. I was like, fuck.
One of my coworkers had it on her phone, and she went around and did it. And I was like, I don't have to download it, but I'll see.
Oh, so you did. So
I look like my dad. It's scary.
That's cool though.
No.
Probably because your dad did the app and they superimposed his photo onto you. See, you look like your dad.
I was curious, but then I was like, man, when I am that age, I'm gonna have to look at that shit in the mirror every day. Like, why don't I just wait? Yeah, all in due time, you know. Yeah. And I freak out about death and aging a lot. Like, I have OCD, so I obsess about a lot of things, whether it's Kevin Smith or whatever the flavor of the month is. But usually they're productive. But death and aging is something that really, I don't know, always seems to fixate me. And not in like a morbid way, but like just, you know, I guess the wondering what the fuck we're doing here on the planet kind of shit, you know? I don't know.
The bigger question.
The bigger question.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly. How we opened this. Well, having kids makes you think of that shit too, right? Like, it instantly forces you to be like, oh, I'm like a grown-up now. Fuck.
Well, and it's like when they hand the baby to you in the hospital, like, hey, you can go home now. You're like, I can just take this? What?
Check my history.
Are you not, like, going to come with me and show me what to do?
Yeah.
You check the seat. That's good.
Yeah, it's scary at the beginning for sure.
Yeah, super.
But it's also like invigorating, and it's also like I feel like when I had my kids, it was you just somehow step up to the fucking plate. You know what I mean? It's just this natural primal thing where you're like, oh, I need to be a dad now, and you're not gonna fix everything in your life. But when it comes to like being afraid of like holding your kid, you're just not. You're like, no, someone's got to. It's me. I'm gonna take care of this beautiful little thing. You know?
She's crying right now. You might be able to hear that in the background.
How's that? How's sleep treating you right now?
I just went back to work yesterday.
Like 6 weeks done?
Yeah, I took like 6 weeks, and I'm wiped. In my head, I'm like, we have to wrap this up soon because this is past my bedtime.
That's cool, man. I got a lot of friends that are in that situation. I don't really do the 9 to 5 that often. I'm kind of primarily a stay-at-home dad, actually, because my fiance is a nurse in the ICU, and she makes good coin, and we're a 21st century couple.
Yeah,
but she's also got a wicked schedule where she'll work like 4 12-hour shifts and then get 5 days off. So when she takes her 5 days off, I do my hospital job, which is also decent coin.
Oh, nice.
But we never have to pay for daycare, and my low annual income helps us tax season comes around. So it's a pretty good setup, yeah. And it gives me the flexibility for stuff like comedy.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, you do some acting stuff too, right?
Only recently. Like, I always feel like anytime I start doing something new creatively, I always feel like a poser if I start saying like, yo, I'm an actor, or like... But I guess I have to. Like, yeah, I was in a movie that's going to come out on Up TV. It's like a fucking Hallmark made for
nice
Christmas time, you know.
Birdie was on one of those.
We've all.
It was cool. It was a good experience. I made like $700 in 2 days. Like, just to be the guy in the band playing guitar right behind the 2 leads of the movie in several scenes. So it's like,
it's not bad.
Yeah, it was a better work day than a lot of other jobs I had, you know. And you feel cool when you're doing it, man. I don't know what to say. I'm pretending to be in this rock band and.
Well, you're also a musician too, right?
Yeah, I was actually a musician, I guess, before anything. I don't really do, like, professionally.
I heard your song on the radio. I heard you on Live 88.5.
Did you actually hear it on the radio?
I did. I was still with my ex-wife because I was driving to train yards to pick her up from work.
You just randomly heard it?
And, well, I always listen to Live 88.5, and they came on as their, like, indie spotlight.
Which one? Was this like, did they mention that show that I was doing at the time, or no? Because they played
It was the Indie Spotlight. Like, it was like, here's our Indie Spotlight featuring local artist Oliver George.
So that was probably the first time. Because they replayed it for me when I was going to open for Ed the Sock. I told them, because I was trying to see if I could go and talk about it. Because, like, I don't know, I'm not that guy who's afraid to send emails. It's worked out for me, like, all the time. And he was like, oh, we'll spin your track again and mention it. So, anyways, I wasn't sure if
I didn't hear that.
It must have been the first time then. That's crazy that you just randomly heard. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But again, I still don't really call myself a musician because that was like a fluke. That was just, I wrote a song and I just got the right people together. In 3 weeks, I wrote it and then had it on the radio, which is kind of crazy.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
And like a legitimate radio station too, like not college shit.
Yeah, I mean, I still only have a couple thousand views on YouTube after like 3 years. So it's like, it was very discouraging in a lot of ways too, actually. It was kind of weird because, you know, you think like, things are falling into place, and then you realize, like, oh my god, there's so much content out there. Like,
well, you also have to be able to follow it up, right?
Well, that's true. And I was always jumping around from like doing comedy, and then I do music for a bit, and then I try acting, and then like, I don't know. I guess I honestly was just afraid to commit, and I'm trying to do that now with comedy more. I'm trying to do like at least 2 shows a month or once a week or whatever I can manage, you know.
Okay.
But the podcast is my main that's my baby.
So what's your podcast? Like,
so
this is going to come out in about 2 weeks.
Cool. So it might actually be up by then. I feel like I've been fucking stringing people along, but as you guys know, it's kind of hard to get up and running. It's a lot to learn. But yeah, my podcast started, the idea was because I entered this contest, I guess you could call it. My dad told me last October, this cannabis company in Toronto was doing a search where they were going to find 5 cannabis connoisseurs from across the country, and they were going to pay them $1,000 a month to sample strains and write reviews and whatever you could offer kind of thing. So I just threw my hat in the ring kind of on a lark because I figured why the fuck not, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just kept making it through. And then like last February, I got told that I was in like the top 25. I beat out like 25,000 people.
Wow.
But, yeah, so then it all became like, it was weird. I entered in not giving a fuck, and then all of a sudden I cared so much because it was so like I could taste it, and then I didn't make the cut. They only picked 8 out of the 25 in the end. But regardless, that was what had me wanting to start a podcast, and it was originally going to be this like let's smoke weed, and the weed was going to be really centric.
Yeah.
So in a way, it was kind of a blessing that I didn't get the gig because I still wanted to do the podcast. But then,
So you can still do that exact same podcast.
oh yeah,
right?
I vape every episode, but like
99% of what podcasts are these days is people just sitting around passing a joint.
yeah, exactly. But I don't feel like I have to, represent like a company or like, I would have probably had to worry more about what I said as opposed to now it's just like my fucking show. I can do whatever I want. And
So what's the show called?
it's called Just Chill, which was the name of that song you heard. And that was kind of a throwback. I was like, why not have like my song be the little intro song at the beginning, and then Just Chill is what I want to do with my guests. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a pretty open concept, just hanging out, talking about whatever.
And vaping.
Well, they don't have to. Me and Chris smoked a joint. I'm not against smoking down there too,
Yeah.
but
No, it's good. It's an excellent geek.
So yeah, you've interviewed a few of like Ottawa's coolest comics.
yeah, it's all been
So
comedians so far. I'm planning on branching out a bit.
right now, you're just kind of doing what you know, which is the people that are around you, which are comedians.
And people who come to town too, like Mike Rita said he'd come on in a couple weeks when he's here. So I've hung out with him a couple times here and there after shows and stuff. So not shows I was on, but
Okay.
again, I'm not afraid to just go up to people and go, "Hey man, can I smoke you on a joint?" And then, if you're just nice to people, generally, it works out.
Generally does do a good thing.
So you're gonna have Just Chill coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the
So-
first episode was with Kyle Brownrigg, who's a super awesome dude from Ottawa, who's
He's
now
awesome.
in Toronto, and talking about
Yeah,
being
super
an
guy.
openly gay man in a Canadian comedy scene, and very eye-opening for someone who's not that. And then the second episode that followed was your
me,
show's
yeah.
Chris Kingsbury, who talked about addiction issues in the past. And
And today is actually the 10th year marker as we record this. So
yeah, congratulations. Holy fuck, man.
10 years off a crystal.
You guys must have talked extensively about that.
It's a
on here.
90-minute minisode, so we're releasing it as a special bonus episode.
Oh, okay.
So it's dropping Sunday, so it'll have already been dropped. This will be like a week later, so they'll be like, oh, we already know what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. We listened to it. Or they're listening to this and be like, I should go back and listen to that.
Please go back and listen to it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Do
The
that
whole
shit.
story, yeah.
It's an interesting story, and there's definitely like a trigger warning for people.
Yeah, for anybody
I'll-
who's
yeah,
currently
I'll-
in it.
I'll do a trigger
and
warning
Then,
at the
and then
beginning.
when Oliver drops his second episode, you can have the other follow-up.
Yeah, I'll be pimping that out when it comes out because I've been really happy with all 3 episodes. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to learn it as I go, but everyone's just been really interesting and eye-opening in different ways. And God, I'm going to try to get non-comics because I think there's even more I could learn from.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Like, you're really pigeonholing yourself if the only people you speak to.
It feels like that, but not really because we haven't talked about comedy that much during those first 3 podcasts.
Yeah, no, it was mostly just life and stuff like you're saying.
Yeah, like your journey, and if that obviously leads to comedy, but we didn't focus on that too much. And also, comics are good guests because it's going to be at least like entertaining banter, right? Like,
Yeah, something to say. Sometimes.
Maybe a couple of chuckles.
I'm trying to get my fiance's cousin's wife. She worked. I know that sounds like a crazy stretch, but I see her at like holiday meals and stuff,
Yeah.
like every Thanksgiving or Easter. We always bump into each other, and she's a big part of I think it's called the MAID program. I don't know what the acronym is, but it's like for assisted death in hospitals. She's like a counselor for that, help families.
Like a death doula. That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Oh, okay. You didn't just make that
I didn't make
moniker
that
up. Okay.
I have a friend that's going through the training to
I
become a
guess
death
I don't
doula.
know. Well, she's what do you call it?
Walks around with a deck of cards. Ace of spades.
Anyways, that's the kind of shit I'm trying to branch out. A buddy at work, one of his daughters is like works for Public Works and sustainable energy and stuff. I want to get like really different topics going on.
This is
But
the thing for us with dads. We want to get like Dr. Weiss on.
Yeah.
who's that?
The vasectomy doctor.
Vasectomy doctor. Most
Oh,
vasectomies.
in Ottawa, the guy who does like everybody's.
Yeah,
I heard about
yeah.
that too.
Legitimately.
I'm gonna see if he will do my vasectomy while we record a podcast.
And he did yours?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you talked about this
Yeah,
to me.
we
a bit.
talked
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I've got another year before I'm gonna do it. We just want.
I'm so scared to do it. I don't know why.
And then I'm gonna go and see if he will let us record a podcast while he does it. I know it's only like a 15-minute procedure, but
We just record that bit.
yeah, we can just record that bit and throw it in.
I'm definitely going to record Champ afterwards on the downers. It's going to be great. Anyway.
so we have to wrap up. But something that I want from every guest before we wrap up is like every dad has a different experience. Every dad has different advice. Every dad has different children. What is the biggest thing you've learned from being a dad, and what advice would you give to other dads out there? Just like unsolicited advice.
what is the thing I've learned the most? God, I think you just learn how much you're capable of loving. That's the first thing. I know that sounds like a bullshit answer, but like...
I really did want to say lame.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but it's weird, because my mom actually told me that. I remember that really touched me when my mom told me that, and my mom's alive. It's not like my mom from beyond the grave or anything, but I remember her telling me when she had my older brother, and then she was pregnant with me, she was afraid that she wouldn't have enough love for both of us. And she told me how magical it felt when I came, because all of a sudden her love just like multiplied. And there was a surplus all of a sudden where she thought there might be, Anyways, that's really sappy, I guess.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, I love my mom. Fucking, she's awesome. She's got good advice and shit.
Guys, call your mom.
Yeah.
Tell them you love her.
And as far as tips with parenting, honestly, I don't know if everyone would agree, but I try to be really real with my kids. I mean, not scar them or anything. I try to do age appropriate, but I didn't want to go into this because I know you had another episode, but swearing is not a thing for me.
Like you won't swear in front of your kids?
No, I swear constantly and I don't care. And because of that, my kids never swear. They know those are like dad's words and they're not... I mean, because honestly, I think intent is so much more important. I think you can hurt someone's feelings way more by just saying something with a lot of like really toxicity in your soul behind it, as opposed to...
That was the big kind of hypothesis of our discussion with Rodney.
Yeah.
You guys should listen to that episode too, Swearing with Rodney.
Yeah, there you go. I give you guys a shout out to another episode.
Yeah, go back to that one. That one's good because that was where we talked about the difference between using a word in context versus using it as like verbal harassment or abuse.
Yeah, I would never put like aggression behind my swearing because I know that can easily be misconstrued as like really something really bad that you don't want to teach your children. I'm sure I swear a lot, like road rage style, but I'm never like, foaming at the mouth. I'm just more casually like ripping people up because there's so many bad drivers in the city and it blows my mind every day. Yeah, I don't know.
So how like being real with your kids around swearing, like what's the realest moment, whether it's swearing or
well, I'm not going to say like cunt or some shit like that. I definitely don't say like sexual swear words. I'm just saying.
Well, no,
like,
I'm saying like move away from that. Move away from that. Like, because you said that the tip you kind of had is like to be real with your kid. The only example you gave of that is swearing,
true.
Right? Like, move on from swearing. Like, give me an example of a time when you were real with your kid and like that was like a teaching moment for you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just trying to tell them to be true to themselves as well, and just standing up for people when the situation calls for it. I don't know, honestly, just good morals is what I try to teach my kids, and not to be just dicks to each other, because kids are always just like fighting about stupid shit. That's the hardest part I find, and
everything is life or death too in those fights. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
and my son, I've tried to make a big example about communication properly, because I find he can be a little bit more reclusive, which I would never try to, force my kids to be extroverts by any means, but there's a certain level of communication required to not be seen as being rude, and that's like just like basic etiquette. So, and being aware of how you're being perceived, but not getting obsessed with that either. I don't know, giving some vague,
That's good.
Okay, we have to wrap this up.
Sure, yeah.
Oliver, it's been fantastic having you here. Check out his podcast, Just Chill. We'll talk to you guys later.
Awesome.
Have you ever wanted to be like Spider-Man, but can't seem to find a radioactive spider?
Well, now you can find other radioactive animal in Chernobyl. Come down. There's radioactive bear, fox, rabbit. You come. You be a rabbit boy. It'd be awesome. Come to Chernobyl. No gays.
Chernobyl.
I said no gays.
Tired of getting turned down for van rentals because you're affiliated with the Proud Boys? Do you need a carpool to the new Joker movie? We get you. Next time you need to rent a white panel van, come down to Incelprice.
We'll pick you up because women never will.
We'll never say no to your money at Incelprice.
Rent today and get entered to a draw to see Louis C.K.
You're a sick fuck. Bye, Michael.
Michael.
Hit me with a beat.
Oh, damn it. Beat. You just put me on the spot.
Motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Guys, it's time for our Dick of the Week.
Dick of the week.
Dick of the Week. Dick of the Week, remember, is not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. And in fact, we're actually going to have Ronald McDonald be our Dick of the Week.
That's right, a clown. A motherfucking clown is our Dick of the Week. Yeah, boy.
And we want to salute to Ronald McDonald because they run the Ronald McDonald House, children's charity. And they offer places of stay for families who are not able to go home or leave the hospital very far for their sick kids in children's hospitals.
This is like big for people that live in smaller towns or smaller communities, and maybe they have to make a trip into Toronto for sick kids or into Ottawa for CHEO.
Yeah.
You know, this is not just in Canada as well, but the States have Ronald McDonald's houses. Yeah. And these are charities that are funded through McDonald's. Usually they have like Ronald McDonald Days, and you can support the charity directly yourself. There's a lot of places that do respite and reprieve for parents.
Rotary Club, people like that.
But the Ronald McDonald House is a great one. Cause we were just talking about who our Dick of the Week should be, and Chris was like, it should be all the dads sitting at CHEO with their kids because no one wants to be in the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's true, but that's, you know, it's like the heroes are the people that come and allow you that respite.
That's right.
Right? The heroes that come and allow you to make yourself at home in a place that's not home.
Cook yourself a meal.
Cook yourself a meal, right? Have some community with people that are going through the same shit as you are, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, this is not an endorsement of McDonald's.
Unless they're going to send us money.
Fuck off, McDonald's. This is all about Ronald.
This is all about Ronald and his charity and his big, huge heart.
So, Mr. McDonald, dick's out to you.
Zip.
That's the first time we've done that salute.
Yeah. Won't be the last, though.
Fucking clown.
Probably the last.
What did we learn this week, Chris? What did you learn?
I learned resolve with my kids. I've been picking up a bunch of just dad days, more so than often than not, because it's harvest time and Amanda's really busy in the garden, so she needs her days to just be able to deal with gardening. So I'm in full dad mode, and Erica, God love her, she's been very attached to her phone and very standoff and argumentative when you take that away or tell her to do something. And then 3 minutes later, after she's doing the thing you asked to, she's totally fine. So just stay the course, really.
Wait, your daughter has a phone?
Yeah, my daughter has, well, it's a shut-down phone. It's mostly just like an iPad now. There's no activeness to it. And she gets it between the hours of like 4 and 6.
So does she like play games and stuff? Is that
she tries to play, Panda Pop. She watches a bit of Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the extent of their screen time.
Okay. So resolve is like sticking to your guns.
When she freaks out because you're taking it away.
You know, one of the first, what did we learn? It was the remember your promises to your kids, because the kids are going to fucking remember them.
Yeah.
So this kind of stands behind that with resolve, eh?
Yeah, that's the reinforcement of that, for sure.
I just noticed that you have very beautiful eyes, Chris.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They're the windows of my soul.
Yes.
Please take your hand off my lap.
No.
Okay. How about yourself? What did you learn about, champ?
I learned that there's a thing called male postpartum depression.
What?
Yeah. Did you know that 5 to 25% of dads actually suffer from a form of male postpartum depression? And a lot of it has to do with them going back to work. A lot of it has to do with the attachment and bonding, which we talked a little bit about in the last episode.
We did.
And the Minnesota, the last Minnesota. And a big push to it is where the dad feels that they are not attaching to the child and that the child actually kind of resents them. And part of them is just the child is going through its own attachment and bonding.
Yeah.
And it actually has led to serious cases of, depression in dads. It usually ends up working itself, like the symptoms end up being like more, like becoming more reclusive as a father, not necessarily showing the affection to your child. Like not like when I come home from work, I try to go over and like grab Maddie and like, Daddy's home. And before I leave, I try to like, make sure that there's some physical, like, hey, Daddy's here. Daddy's leaving. But when this strikes, it ends up taking away your desire from wanting to do that. It takes away from your desire from even wanting to connect with your spouse or your partner. So you typically end up kind of isolating yourself. You end up becoming more temperamental, maybe at the workplace or with other people, irritated a little bit more often. Some of that could be sleep deprivation.
Yeah,
right? A lot of this could be sleep deprivation. But, you know, what I've realized is that, like, I don't handle sleep deprivation as well as Kate does. And it's one of those things where, like, if I haven't slept well, I'm not an asshole, but I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And versus if she hasn't slept well, she's just tired. You know? And I'm like, oh, fuck. So, I can see how it could very easily, like, creep in. I've just gone back to work. Like, I've been back to work for about 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And, you know, I can feel, like, a little bit of that pulling away. You showed up when I got home from work today, and you could see that she was very, very fussy.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, it took about 45 minutes for us to get her calmed down. Us, because Chris and I are obviously co-parenting.
Yes. I told him, just stop burping her so hard. And she's like, oh my God.
But anyways, it's one of those things where I can see how it could very easily happen.
I think I know of an instance right now in my near family that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so that's a thing. Yeah.
So I learned that that's a thing, and I learned that, like, you know, men aren't talking about it because men don't know it exists. Men just think that they're being irritable or that they're undersleeping.
Yeah.
But in reality, they're suffering a disconnect in the attachment process to their baby, and it's hard to kind of feel that connection. Like, this baby is mine. Well, we know that the baby's. I know the baby's. But but you know what I mean. Like, I
don't feel involved in this process.
So that's what I learned, and I know it's kind of like a downer to end our episode on.
Well, but you know, it's a valuable thing we should make aware of.
If you're a dad and you're experiencing that, you know, we've already mentioned Pleo before on this, the Parents Lifeline of Eastern Ontario.
Yep.
Pleo.on.ca. There's the Distress Center. Give them a call. Visit your local community health center. Send us an email. Fucking send us an email because,
talk to us.
Like, you know, I can give you connections to wherever you are because I do have ins in, like, the mental health field. So
don't drink it off. Reach out and talk to somebody, man.
You know, have a beer with us, but, like, you know, have a beer with us.
Yeah, don't have the case.
Because that's less beer for me.
Yeah.
If someone wants to reach out, Chris, where can they find us?
On Facebook, We Got Daddy Issues. Daddy Issues with Champ in Kingsbury. On our internet. Our email is at wegotdaddyissues@gmail.com.
Yeah, wegotdaddyissues@gmail.com.
Insta always throws me.
No, Twitter always
throws me. Daddy Issues with Champ in Kingsbury on.
No. Insta is at We Got Daddy Issues, and Twitter is at We Got Dad Issues.
That's right,
because the character. Look, just type in Daddy Issues Champ Kingsbury, you'll find us. Or go find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're there. Like, rate, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, tell dads that you know.
Yeah.
We need your love because we love you.
Yep.
Daddy Issues was created by Matthew Champ and Chris Kingsbury. Next, we edit.
Promotional considerations by beer companies that won't give us beer.
Yes. Special thank you to Jacob Pollack for the awesome music. Freddie J. and Heather Hurst, our good old friends, Uncle Freddy and Stripper Mom.
Yeah.
And, shout out to all you motherfuckers.
Literally. Bye.